Hello, my name is Mary Morris. I'll be teaching you how to make mini cherry cheesecakes. This recipe has won over people that aren't fans of cherries or even fans of cheesecake. Now, cheesecake may seem complex, but they involve items in your pantry. They can be made in just a few steps, and the outcome becomes great every time. The great part about this recipe is that it's fully customizable because there's little to no change based on how the cheesecake will end up. The recipe I have is actually a collaboration from 3 recipes I found. The 3 recipes were the Betty Crocker's Mini Cherry Cheesecake recipe, the Mini Cheesecakes recipe from allrecipes.com by Janice, and Taste of Home's Mini Cherry Cheesecakes recipe. I have been making cherry cheesecakes for around 7 years, and I had made small batches of 12 all the way up to a large batch of 72. I've made them for parties, for coworkers, and pretty much any occasion that kind of comes up. The tools that will be needed are a cupcake pan, cupcake liners, a mixer, some bowls, measuring spoons and measuring cups, regular spoons, a can opener, a spatula, a food processor, or a bag and something to mash the vanilla wafers with. The ingredients needed for the crust are a box of vanilla wafers, a half cup of brown sugar, and a 1/4 cup of butter melted. The ingredients for the cheesecake mix are 2 eggs, 2 8-ounce packs of softened cream cheese, a teaspoon of vanilla, 1½ teaspoons of lemon juice, and 3/4 cup of sugar. Now the last ingredient you need is for the topping, which will be 1 21-ounce can of cherry pie filling. Now, so that we can get started, you need to go ahead and preheat that oven to 375. We're going to go ahead and line our cupcake pan with liners and place 1 vanilla wafer in each liner. You're going to take about 30 vanilla wafers and crush them up, and then combine the brown sugar and the melted butter with the crushed up vanilla wafers either in a bowl, a food processor, or even in that bag if you decided to crush it up that way. You're going to take that wafer mix and fill up the little gap around the vanilla wafer in the liner and then pat it down. In a separate bowl, you're going to take the softened cream cheese and mix it up real quick. Then add the sugar, the lemon juice, the vanilla extract, and the eggs. You're going to beat that for about medium-high for 1 to 2 minutes or until it's smooth and fluffy. You're going to have to make sure you scrape around the side of the bowl and get any extra parts and beat it for an extra couple of seconds. Go ahead and spoon the cheesecake mix into the liners until about 2/3 full, and then toss it in the oven. You're going to bake it for about 15 or 20 minutes. Everybody's oven's a little different, so you're going to have to keep an eye out. Usually you know it's done when the top of the cheesecake looks as if it's starting to break open, as if it's like cracking. But not too much. It's only when like a few of them start to do it. So then at this point, you want to make sure that you let your cheesecakes cool completely. So it usually will take about 30 minutes to an hour. What I like to do is about 5 minutes afterwards, pull the liners out of the pan and let it cool on the counter. So at this point, if you aren't ready to serve them, you can toss them in the fridge until you're ready, or you can get ready to serve them now. So you're going to open that can of cherries, and you're going to spoon about 3 to 4 of the cherries with a little bit of glaze and top it right on top of the cheesecake. And that's everything that you need to serve a mini cherry cheesecake. So I do know that when I soften the cream cheese that I like to leave it 2 hours out before. Everyone has their own differences. Some people don't believe in doing that. For me, it has the best results. I've never had any issues with it at all. That's one tip that I do like to give to everyone. So onto some cool things about this recipe, as it is fully customizable. Instead of vanilla wafers, if you decide to use graham crackers, Oreos, other cookies, pie crust, granola, any of those options are completely available to it, as it is just the base of the cheesecake and doesn't really affect the recipe. I only add lemon and vanilla for my flavors in the cheesecake mix. but you can change those flavors how you like it. It doesn't really, just make sure the ratio is about the same. It doesn't really affect the outcome of how it'll be. My thing is that the cherry is a really strong flavor, so I don't like to add more flavors when I'm making the traditional cherry cheesecake. However, if you do add like walnut or chocolate chips, those ingredients actually affect the recipe, so you want to make a trial cheesecake before you make a whole batch, so you know how to measure out the ingredients just right. For toppings, I've done caramel, chocolate, added some chopped nuts and other pie fillings, but there's so many different options like s'mores and Oreos. It's just endless because they don't actually affect the outcome of how it's going to be. They just affect how long they'll last after you chop them. But now that you have learned about all the ingredients and the steps and the creativity of these little mini cheesecakes, I hope that you have enjoyed learning about them and you make them for your next gathering. Thank you!